In the next hour, President Donald Trump is expected to sign a sweeping executive order that will roll back a range of environmental regulations set during President Obama's administration. It's being billed as a measure to increase this country's energy independence and restore jobs lost by the coal mining industry. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt talked about it a short time ago.
It's good to see the president come into the EPA to set a new course, to say we're going to be about pro-growth, pro-jobs, and pro-environment.
In effect, however, the order includes an initiative to review President Obama's Clean Power Plan, rescind the moratorium on coal mining on federal lands, and urge agencies to identify all regulations that may block domestic energy production. MSNBC's Cal Perry is here to take a look at what all of this means. So is NBC's chief environmental correspondent, Ann Thompson, who joins me from Portland, Maine. Ann, I'll come to you in that picturesque backdrop in just a moment. Cal, let me start with you. How much do we really rely on coal in this country right now?
We don't. We used to rely on it as our number one source of energy. Right now, our number one source of energy is petroleum, followed by natural gas. Coal comes in at 3, okay? What's it going to do for jobs? Because this is what you're going to hear from the president in the next hour. Coal is going to create jobs. We're bringing coal back. I'm not sure coal wants to come back. Right now, coal accounts for less than 70,000 jobs in this country. Compare that to renewable energy, which accounts for more than 650,000. We've been talking about this earlier today. This is your timeline of what's happened to jobs in the coal industry over time. This was the oil and gas crisis in the 80s. That's why that spiked. I want to leave you, because you were talking about this earlier, Craig. Look at West Virginia. Here are healthcare jobs over time, and here are coal jobs over time. It's not even close. So we're headed the other direction with coal. Coal is no longer a big-time employer in this country.
Cal Perry, sifting fact from fiction there. Thank you, sir. Ann Thompson standing by in Portland, Maine. And Ann, I understand that you were standing in front of a body of water that could be impacted by what we hear from President Trump next hour. How so?
Well, Portland is on the Gulf of Maine, Craig, and the Gulf of Maine is one of the fastest warming bodies of water in the world, and scientists say that's due to climate change. And because the water is getting so warm here, the iconic fish that are identified with Maine, such as lobster and cod and pollock, they're all moving north to find colder waters. So what's the connection between what the president is about to do and what's happening here in the Gulf of Maine? Well, if he rolls back the climate change initiative started under the last administration, that means more greenhouse gases will go in the air. That means more climate change will happen. And we know that because of all the greenhouse gases that go in the air, we are literally changing the chemistry of the oceans on land. Growing zones are moving north. The impacts are far and wide. What does it mean for jobs? As Cal pointed out, coal now has serious competition from natural gas because of fracking. Natural gas is less polluting. Fracking has increased the abundance of natural gas. It's cheaper than coal. And so utility companies are moving away from coal plants as they age because they're more expensive to replace and they come with all these environmental regulations, and opting for natural gas because it's cheaper. They're also opting for renewables because the cost of wind and solar has fallen so dramatically in the past couple of years. As for job creation, when it comes to electric power generation, where the jobs are being created are in the solar and wind industries. That's according to the Department of Energy. Solar, in fact, last year had over 300,000 jobs, whereas fossil fuel generation had just under 200,000 jobs. Craig?
NBC News environmental correspondent, chief environmental correspondent, Ann Thompson for us in Portland, Maine this afternoon, explaining precisely how all of this might be affecting the environment. Ann, thanks so much as always for that insight. We all